Hi there, YouTube. We're back again today for more of our Gencon Bonanza Explosion Block coverage. We're live at Gencon 2017. Thanks in part to all of our amazing Kickstarter backers sending us to Gencon year after year, sending us to Essen this year. You all are the best. Thank you so much. Also, give some love to our sponsors, Tasty Minstrel Games, who sponsors everything we do, Bleem Games, who's redoing Dark Mages a little bit later this year, and then Medieval Lords, who has Black Souls coming to Kickstarter in just about a month or two. Right now, I'm very excited because I went to Origins. My buddy Brandon tried this game out. He said it was absolutely freaking fantastic, and I had to shoot a video on it. We're going to be talking to Ted of Bezia Games about the upcoming Palace of Mad King Ludwig.
That's it. We're super excited, and awesome that you're going to Gen Con. I did not realize that actually funded for you to be able to go to Gen Con. That's super awesome because that's where we're launching this. And have you been to Essen before?
I have never been outside of North America.
Oh. Wow, and if you're going to go, that's the place to go, at least as a gamer, because it's amazing and fantastic. It's Gen Con times 3, so
stoked!
It's going to be awesome. Okay, back to this game, because we're super excited about this. We're showing it off here at Gen Con. It's going to be out at Essen. This is a sequel. It's a follow-up to Castles of Mad King Ludwig, which was out about 3 years ago. People are still playing it now. They're still enjoying it. And what this is kind of a successor in a way, both historically and thematically. So what happened with Ludwig is he built all these great castles, and after he had built his castles and they were getting finished, he had actually started planning on building a giant palace. He was always jealous of the Palace of Versailles, wanted to build something that was as good or better than that. Unfortunately, he ended up mysteriously dying shortly after that time, floating in a lake near one of his castles. But this is before that happened, so it's that little time period in there where he was very excited about, let's figure out how to build this awesome palace. So what he's done, he's hired basically the best architects in the land to come to work together to come up with a great palace for him. And whichever of the architects has the most influence on the design is going to get the contract. And so that's what all of us are. We are all architects working on this palace. And so we're going to work on one big giant palace, as opposed to in castles where everyone's working on their individual little castles. The way the game works is, on your turn, you're going to be able to do one of these actions that are along this bottom row here. And most of these are taking a tile and adding it to the palace. If there's a swan or a couple swans underneath there, that means it costs that many swans of any color in order to do that particular action. So for instance, if I want to take this guy, it's free, and I can just go ahead and just pop it there on the palace. As long as I have an entranceway that matches another entranceway there, it's great. Swans don't have to be the same color, but if they do, that's even better. So for instance, maybe I could pop it right here. That would be a great play as well. As soon as I do that, I'm going to put one of my player markers on there to show that that is my room. I'll put a little player marker here on my blueprints board to show that I've now built one of those types of rooms. And this is really cool because as I build things, once I build a certain number of rooms, once I build my third room, I'm going to get a free swan of a certain color. And swans have a value at the end of the game and can be used for other things. Once I build 5 of them, I get 10 points at the end of the game. And you can even build more than 5 of something if you want to. So each room type, if you focus on a certain room type, you're going to get some additional rewards in addition to that. Because I did match the swans here, I had 2 blue swans matching, I get a swan from the supply and I add it to my supply. I check to see if anything has been completed. In castles, whenever you complete a room, you get a reward. Different types of rooms, like yellow rooms, would give you an extra turn. Blue rooms would let you go through some of the stacks to look for certain rooms, that sort of thing. Well, we've got rewards here, and they're a little different because of the way that the game works. So for instance, if eventually this activity room that I've just placed is completed, that's an additional 7 points for me at the end of the game. If I complete one of these blue rooms, like this, or excuse me, this orange room here, this one is going to give me 3 points for every purple swan I have at the end of the game. All sorts of interesting rewards. Again, there's some similarities to castles, but everything is a little unique and a little more focused on this particular gameplay and the game style here. After you place that, we're going to slide down these tiles, flip over the next one, it's the next player's turn. Other things you can do on your turn besides just taking a tile and adding it to the palace, you can pay some swans here, take one of these room tiles, and activate a special ability here on your blueprints board. Each player has 6 special abilities, and they can activate any of them. So for instance, this one here reduces the cost of anything by 1 swan. So instead of paying 1 or 2 swans here, I pay 0 or 1 swan for different things. I can actually do that twice and reduce the cost by 2 swans if I wanted to. And so then I'm just be collecting a lot more swans, and nothing's going to cost me very many swans at all. There's an option here on the bottom that lets me move moat tiles around. eventually what's going to happen with this game is as we start going through the stacks here, people are going to start placing moat tiles that are slowly going to surround the palace. And unfortunately for some players, that's going to start blocking off entrances to their rooms. This special ability here allows me to take these moat tiles from one side of the moat and place them on the other, so I can kind of clear out a space for my rooms and maybe possibly block someone else's at the same time. There's other abilities on the other side here that give you extra points. They break ties, give some extra swans at the end of the game. But you can all activate those with this special ability. It's kind of cool. Another action you can do is to actually take some favorite tiles. Favorite tiles are things that Ludwig wants you to do. He's like, you know what? I don't want a lot of swans. If you have a lot of swans, that's a problem, so he's going to give you 20 points if you have the fewest number of swans of all the players. Or this one here is like, you know what, I'll give you 15 points if you build the most downstairs rooms. If I see one of those that thinks that maybe I'm partway on track for that, or I think I can achieve that, I can keep that, put it in one of these same 6 slots. Instead of activating the ability, now I have a favor there, and only I can score that. Now I've blocked off that ability, I can't get that anymore, but I have a good chance probably of getting the points here as well. And of course you only have 6 of those things once they're in place, they can't move. At that point, so you kind of have to judge, you know, is it worth it to do this and take away an ability, or do you want an ability and not possibly get the points that could be associated with that? The game continues. The palace gets bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually the moat that's been creeping around the outsides meets. And when the moat totally encompasses the palace, the game ends. And the moat builds faster and faster and faster, because as we get rid of these stacks of tiles, we start adding additional moats. So once 2 stacks are gone, it's 2 moats. Once 3 stacks are gone, it's 4. Once the 4th stack is gone, which doesn't happen too often, it could be 6 moats at a time that are being added. And that'll close around the palace very, very quickly, and the game will just end right then. So there's a lot of tension about when the game will end, and if you can achieve all the things that you want to do before that time. In some cases, you might want to end sooner because you see some other people are very close to getting some certain goals, so you might want to try to figure out how to encourage that and move that forward.
All right, and you said this is coming out at Essen this year?
It is, yes.
All right, very, very cool. Feels familiar, but also feels different. Looks really, really cool. That's Palace of Mad King Ludwig coming out later this year. If it looks like it might be your cup of tea, be sure to check that one out. If you're enjoying this Gen Con coverage, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below. In the comments below, let me know, what's the weirdest thing you've ever found in the garbage?
Wow, I don't think I could actually say that on video. No,
We got a lot of those answers.
Probably like a mouse or something in certain places. Yes, actually live rodents. Yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
I found a moped once when I was a kid in somebody's trash, but then apparently it wasn't trash. They just parked it right by the trash, and it was bad news.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it was my first call to the cops when the cops came visiting. It wasn't, I was like 11 though. But let me know in the comments below. What's the weirdest thing you ever found in the trash? As always, thanks for your time, YouTube.